Okay. I should have filled my water before doing this video. So I'm kind of thirsty. Well, I mean, there's still water in here, but not as much as I'd like. I also need to bring a blanket over to sit on because I'm currently sitting on the hardwood floor. And I don't have pants on, so I'm not gonna get up and get something. So I have been feeling very strange since this year. Well, honestly, since 2025 started. Okay, I think we should be good. Yeah, I obviously don't live alone, so the editing might be a bit strange. But anyway, like I said, I have felt very strange, especially since this year began. I just don't feel like the person I've been since about forever. And I didn't really realize, like, I guess how similar I've been to different versions of myself before, because, like, I'm not going to say that I've never changed. I mean, all humans change, they grow up, they evolve, all that stuff, right? Anyway, sorry, I'm just like, what's going on down there, girl? And, like, even me looking at myself, I have not looked in the mirror or in a camera in years. And if I have, it was a very brief, very quick occasion, and then I wouldn't do it again for, like I said, years. Because, you know, I had PCOS, and I've gained quite a bit of weight, and I've not really, well, I mean, no fat person has been really treated nicely this period. But, you know, I didn't like the way I looked for a very long time. And, like, I know I'm not ugly. Like, that's the thing, like, especially, and that's what I mean, like, for a long time, I felt like, no, I'm ugly, I'm ugly, I'm ugly, I'm ugly. I'm not. But, like, I'm not, right? I'm not saying, like, oh my god, right? Like, I'm so hot. Like, we all have our flaws, but, you know, I mean, I don't think I'm ugly, you know, but I felt that way for a very long time, and I genuinely believe that I was. But now, it's like, you're not ugly, girl. Like, sure, you might not have the body and exact appearance you like, and your skin might not be the most clear. It may look clear on this camera, it's low quality, but, like, I have hyperpigmentation here and everything, you know. I have a fucking zit coming in right there. I think I found my pimple patches, so I'm probably gonna put that on before I go to bed. But, you know, whatever. But I've recently started looking at myself again in the mirror when I'm brushing my teeth, when I'm moisturizing and washing my face and all that stuff, you know. I've been thinking about my appearance, and not in a way of which, like, oh my god, I need to change everything. But no, like, I used to put makeup on a lot. I loved doing makeup when I was, like, a teen and to my early 20s. And I used to do, I guess, editorial makeup, just very artsy with whatever I had on hand. And I used to wear wigs. And not just like any wigs, they were colorful cosplay wigs. I mean, cheap cosplay wigs, but, you know, I somehow found a way to make them look fairly decent at times for pictures, you know what I mean? And I just loved that. I loved, you know, dressing up to go nowhere. And then I stopped, and I did not know I had PCOS at the time, but my body was changing in very uncomfortable ways, and I kept getting like the hair growth, if you know, you know, and therefore the hyperpigmentation as a result and everything, right? And so I just didn't really like the way I looked, and I stopped looking in the mirror. And it's been that way for a very long time. I don't know, maybe 5 years or something. I don't really remember. Around that. But beyond that was a bit of a side tangent. Excuse me. Last year, I went through a lot. I had this friendship that was very intense. And I went through a lot of losses. But I also had a lot of gains last year. Weird ones too, you know, just I don't know how personal I'm gonna get, but I have to get to a certain level personal for it to just make sense, right? But you know, I lost dogs and a person that I didn't really know, but they also were part of bringing me on this earth. My father died. Yeah, it was very crazy. And I never really mourned his death properly because of a lot of complicated things. Like, again, I don't know how personal I want to get, but let's just say I was not met with the kindest responses by some people I thought I might get some grace from. For reasons that either kept changing or just will never be explained. And, you know, the losses I experienced hit me particularly hard for different reasons. Again, I don't want to go too deep into them. And then, like I said, the friendship was very intense, just ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. And like I say, I'm not getting too detailed, but I will say on my end, it just felt like a downward spiral. And I kind of knew this was not going to stand the test of time, especially around like July, but also like more so November or 2025. I just knew that friendship was going to end, especially in November, because I read tarot. I mean, I have, my decks are right here, you know, I have this big old deck and just a whole bunch of things, right? Like, I read cards, basically. I own a bunch. I want to sell some. But yeah, I own quite a few. And I've been reading cards since I was like 17, 18. I'm 26, turning 27. But, which is kind of crazy because we're not going to get on that tangent. I'll do that one later. But I was reading cards in November about this friendship because things were just not improving. At least not in a way that, like, probably should have been. And I had pulled cards prior, like I said, in like July, September, October. But it really hit me in November how many times I was pulling these cards to represent the friendship. And this is how I know tarot is real, because why did the two same exact cards come out every time for the same exact question in the spread? And it was Death and the Ten of Swords. If you know anything about tarot, I wonder if I have, then I'd have to like go through them. But Death and the Ten of Swords, death is pretty self-explanatory. It's literally about endings, death, mostly metaphorical, you know, of course, but just in general, it's about endings and things dying and needing to end. It's a natural cycle of things. Excuse me. And then the Ten of Swords is also an ending, but it's a painful ending. The Rider-Waite, the traditional deck, and a lot of tarot decks will have the same imagery. It's someone lying on the ground with with 10 swords in their back. And like I said, it represents painful endings. Again, another version of death. And I kept pulling those cards. And, you know, I knew in my heart of hearts as well this was not going to work, even when we reconciled in 2024. But, you know, I kind of had more hope in 2024 because it seems like, you know, things were happening, progress is happening. And then in 2025, it was just downhill. I was always doing something wrong, and I never apologized correctly. And then it was just a whole bunch of shit. And then, you know, like, I'm not saying I was perfect. I'm never going to say I'm perfect. I'm never going to say, like, oh my God, like, I was just so saintly and, like, oh my God, I'm this, like, da-da-da. No, I obviously made mistakes, and I tried to make up for them multiple times. But it was getting to a point where, like, I kind of felt like I was going crazy because I would go to them like, hey, this hurt me. And it's like, well, I disagree. Or I don't remember it that way, so we must let bygones be bygones. I don't want to rehash this. But it's like, but you want to rehash things with me, though, all the time. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But it was a downward spiral, and the friendship did end in the beginning of this year. Officially in March, but honestly in February. And now I will say I definitely could have handled things better, like definitely could have. But I basically removed us mutually on social media after a while because I kept getting met with silence after silence after silence when it was pretty important to have a conversation, but she disagreed. And so we never had a conversation, and I was just being met with silence. And then I was given this ultimatum where it's like, you can talk to me once a month or not at all. Basically, it's your call. So basically, the ultimatum was, well, we can talk once a month, or you can just say you don't want to be friends anymore. And at the time, I didn't, and even when I did the unfollow thing, it wasn't that I didn't want to be friends. It was just that I wanted to, you know, work through the issues. And like I said, I'm not perfect. That's why I want to work through things because, you know, like I genuinely cared about that friendship and that person. You know, they meant a lot to me. But in those moments where we were having this falling out, let's call a spade, you know, it was a falling out. That's when the click happened. And that's what we're getting at. That's when what I'm dealing with right now kind of happened. And I'm not going to put it all on this friendship. It was happening within me the entire time. Like I said, last year I went through a lot of losses, and I also had a lot of gains. And, you know, just internal stuff. But that's when it finally snapped, clicked into place, or honestly broke apart for me. What that thing is, I believe, is who I have been since forever and whoever or whatever I'm becoming. That's when I did the whole remove you, remove me. We're not going to follow each other online. Because every time I see your posts, it stresses me the fuck out. And the things, you don't like the things I post, even if they're not about you, because I post poetry and it's usually like dark and depressing, whatever. And even if it is about you, like, I don't know. Even the ones that were about you, I feel like you didn't realize they were. But anyway, it was just strange. And I'm like, I need to pull back. And in that moment, like I said, I definitely could have handled it better. I should have probably just said, honestly, like, it's not going to work. You're right. But in the moment, I did not want the friendship to end. But I definitely wanted space. And even with that, I should have said something. But I was going through quite a bit. I thought I was going to be homeless again. Yeah. My life is quite dicey. And they don't know about that at all. They never knew about that because we were too busy dealing with whatever the falling out, they didn't know the stress I was under. I genuinely thought I was about to be homeless. So not saying like, oh my god, that's an excuse, feel bad for me, but like I didn't really have the words to express, hey, whatever. Not an excuse. I agree, I could have handled it 1,000 times better, but I genuinely felt like, what the fuck is going on in my life right now? Like, I'm so scared, because I'd been homeless before with my family, and that was very traumatic, and I really thought it was gonna happen again. And so in a way I just said, okay, I can't keep seeing you every time I go to disassociate and scroll for like 15 minutes before I go back into crippling depression. So that is why I did that, realistically. And also all the captions, I'm like, you will post all of this potentially, I don't know if it was about me or not, probably not, but who knows, but you won't talk to me. You just will not talk to me. And so yeah, when the ultimatum thing happened and all of those things, something snapped. I snapped away from who I've been since forever and whoever I'm becoming. We fell out officially March 17th, I think. They would go on to send me anonymous messages on Tumblr that were quite a lot. And I did respond to them, but then I deleted my response, because the way I see it is no matter what I say, no matter what I said or did, it would not have mattered. It would have ended the same way. And I'm just, and also, like, that's what I'm saying, like, who I'd been, who I was before would have been like, oh my god, and like, spiraled, type something out, blah, blah. Who I am right now is like in a transition state. I feel like I'm suspended, right? In the moment, I meant what I said, which was an apology and how I truly felt about the friendship, and that I cared about that person, and that I'm sorry they felt that way, whatever, right? And I left it up for a few days. Whether they saw it or not, I don't know. I don't know how anonymous works. Do they get notifications? I don't know. But I wrote that thing, and a few days pass, and I was just thinking about it. I'm like, no, like, I'm not even gonna dignify that with a response. Like, I don't know, because I keep saying that because Dutch in RDR2 said it a few times, and I'm like, that's kind of a banger. He's a piece of shit, but he's got away with words, obviously. But you know, I removed it because it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. Like I said in the response, though, like, because they were talking about, you act like there's no love lost on social media, your switch up is pathetic, da 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 da. The reason I wasn't posting, because in the past when we first fell out, I'm going to admit I was definitely crashing out in a very embarrassing way, because I was splitting for 2 years. I meant 3 years. Well, 2 years actually, because on the 3rd year I mellowed the fuck out and kind of just accepted that I will never be able to, you know, whatever. But this go around I didn't split, and I still have not split in this situation. Yeah, I do have BPD, but I did not split, and like I said, I haven't. I mean, I've been heartbroken about this. Am I still? I mean, yes and no. What I'm heartbroken about is the fact that they hated me the whole time, and I knew it, and I even asked them, and they said no, and I believed them. What I'm heartbroken about is the fact that, you know, in 2024, it felt like I got my friend back, you know. And it felt like we were getting close. But then in 2025, things just, I don't know, like some shit was just changing, and I couldn't put my finger on it until the very end of the year or the beginning of 2026, which also sucks because even in the beginning of 2026, like we were getting close and everything. Here's the thing, basically I don't hate them, and I don't know if I ever really will. Like, there are moments where like I'm going about my day and I think about the ways in which like they did me dirty or they hurt me or whatever, and I'm like, I fucking hate you, bro. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But then there are the clarity and like my normal consistent feelings, which are like, while I am hurt by many things that they will never even know about. I mean, Jesus, I'm not even gonna talk about it too much. I mean, and if I do, I do. But if I don't, I don't. Like, there are things that they will never know about that they've done to hurt me, right? And like vice versa. But I don't hate them, and I don't think I ever fully will. I mean, I feel angry at times or sad. Of course I feel sad because like this was my friend and this was someone I loved. This is someone I loved. I don't know, I feel really weird at being vulnerable on camera, so I'm like, help me. But no, I did love them. And I really wish we could have stayed friends though, low-key, because they would have been really, really stoked about certain things in my life. Like, I live with a river that goes through my property. Pretty nice one. They love the water, and I live like 30 minutes from the sea. If they came up and visited for a summer, you know what I mean? Like, it would have just been a vibe. But they're gone now, and I'm gone from them. And it is forever. Not on some like petty shit like, oh fuck that. No, like, even if we both reached a state of clarity for each other and knew how to lick each other's wounds and all that, what's done is done. The TV got me. I'm afraid. Sorry. And like, that's the thing, like, and I also feel kind of guilty that I'm not like, oh my god, and like I was like, I cried when, you know, they first sent me the whole like wish you the best thing. And then, you know, I also was like, girl, you gotta lock in because like you don't know where you're even gonna live. You could be homeless. Like, that's what I mean too. I think another reason why I can't be so like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, like I used to be, is one, I grew up a little bit, and two, my life around that time falling to pieces, fell into place again, because this house is very pretty, and like I said, I live on like a river and stuff, and it's very beautiful. But, you know, even when I was going through all that stuff, like, yeah, I was sad about this friendship because, like, are you serious? Like, I not only did I love and care about you, but like I stuck through this friendship knowing it was gonna fail, and like on some, because I was writing like a fiction idea based on this, where it was like, say there's like some disease or some sort of like sickness, right? And this mad doctor scientist person, which would have been me in the thing, not saying like I'm a genius, because head empty, no thoughts most times. Just kidding. I don't know. I'm not gonna go into my intelligence because I don't care that much about explaining that right now. But anyway, mad scientist character, person who is either sick or not sick. I don't know. It was gonna be like someone who was sick, or something, like there was this thing going around and we had to fix it, right? And the sick thing represented the friendship, and it was futile. Like, you could not save the sick thing. There was no cure. It was like trying to defy death. And if you remember the cards I pulled, Death and the Ten of Swords, that was representing the friendship, and that was death. I kept trying to defy that. Even against my own judgment. Like I even told them near the end of our friendship, which really started this fight, was me basically like, and I could have articulated stuff so much better, but it's really hard to like have a conversation with someone who's like, well, I don't know what you want me to say, I don't know what this conversation's getting ridiculous and I want you to know that like, it's really hard to express like, hey, you hurt my feelings sometime to someone's like, well, this is ridiculous. So that made me kind of spiral a little bit. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that did not help me at all. Still could have handled it better, but with how I knew how to handle it at that moment and with all my other stuff going on, yeah. Not an excuse, just an explanation. But yeah, no. I spent 2025 trying to defy the end of this friendship, even though I knew it was coming. I knew since January. Not January. I knew since, I'd say, about July, but I got a hint of it in like the beginning of 2025. You know, I kept going because I did care about the friendship, yes, but also about them. I hope I haven't said their name because I'm not trying to like do all that. But you know, I cared about them as a person because, not to throw too much of their business out there, but you know, they have a lot of struggles. And I probably, until the day I either just release it and say, you know, whatever happens, it's going to happen, I can't stop it, or until the day I pass away, I'm going to be worried about them. Because, like, their struggles are real. And, like, even when we fell out, there was this like moment where I was less concerned about me and more about them, because of where they live and the state of the world and how they don't have a lot of support in their life. And while I'm not this like established person, with whatever could have happened, I don't know, like I wanted to help them at one point. And like I was telling someone recently, like there was a point where I wanted to take care of them, not on some like, oh my god, I need to baby them or whatever, but you know, when someone struggles like that, you want to go over and help them with something, you know, you want to visit them and bring them something that improves their lives. And that's also why, like, when I was so demonized throughout everything, like I said, I know I'm not the best person. I know I'm not the most, like, saintly person. I'm so sick of people being like, oh, you think you're this, you think you're that, you think... I have a very low opinion of myself. On my Arthur Morgan shit, how is he so pretty? But he's like, oh, you're ugly as hell. That attitude is what's ugly, Arthur. You know what I mean? Like, I don't exactly think I'm the shit. Like, I would hate to tell y'all, the confidence has been in the gutter for a very long time. So yeah, I don't know where we get this rhetoric from. Now, don't get me wrong, like, I can speak somewhat confidently of myself at times, but yeah, no, I don't have like the highest opinion of myself. Of course, I have self-protection and preservation and all that stuff, like, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. But away from the friendship, because that has taken up a lot of time. When the events happened that broke it, like I said, I snapped away from who I'd been for a long time into who I am right now so that I can become who I'm becoming. And I feel very suspended. Like, I know who I am to an extent, right? Like, I know, like, the basics. Like, I'm a poet. I like nature. I collect pull-up dolls, which, oh my god, hold on. I have a new one that I got recently. This camera is not the best quality, but she is so cute. Oh. It's kind of hard to do. There we go. Their eyes close. And then open again. Hold on. There we go. She's absolutely stunning. Her wig is a fucking mess. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the rooting and stuff is a mess. But I don't really care because these are display dolls and from afar you can't really notice it. And I don't know. I guess for me, the way I've lived, I'm just grateful to you know, have her. She's, I think, my 14th pull-up. Yeah. But, you know, I collect pull-up dolls. And, you know, we'll just set her on this, like, altar table. I collect pull-up dolls. I write poetry. I like 9 Inch Nails and industrial music right now. I've also been listening to Perverts by Ethel Cain on a loop, as well as the Silent Hill 2 remake and original soundtrack. I play games. I like dark psychological stuff. I like occultism and astrology. I've been studying, you know, quite a bit of astrology lately. Traditional Hellenistic. I'm not a terrific person, not even a great person, but I'm also not an evil person. But, like, without, you get it. Like, I understand these things about myself. But there's, like, this underlying knowing that we kind of all have of ourselves. Like, for some, how do I explain it? It's kind of beyond words. Like, isn't there something, like, Japanese culture where it's like you have the 3 faces, the one you show, like, the world, the one you show your closest friends and family, and then the one you show no one. It's kind of like that, the face that you show no one. We all have that sort of thing where even if we're stuck in, like, some sort of self-loathing or maybe, you know, whatever, there's always some sort of underlying, like, this is who I am and I feel that way, even if I don't fully give myself permission to believe that or to feel that or whatever, right? I don't know. Maybe that does make sense. It's hard to explain. That's kind of what I mean by I don't feel like the person I've been. And, like, there are other factors. Like I said, in the past, how I would have handled this falling out would have been very, very, very different. Splitting like crazy. I mean, I genuinely thought for some months throughout the friendship where it was like, oh, I really hope that, you know, we don't fall out because, like, I don't want to go back to being that person again because that person, I didn't even like being that person, you know? But I don't know. And, like, I just don't feel as attached to people anymore or even certain things. Like, I mean, yeah, like I said, you know, collect my girls, my whatever. You know, but I just, like, I just don't feel the way I have for a long time. And, you know, for a while, like in 2025, I would kind of get into my special interest. You know, I played Red Dead 2 for the first time. And, you know, I was playing that a lot. You know, it's funny because I played the game in July 2025. And I've replayed it, but I've never gotten past Chapter 4. So I've not fully replayed it again. Like, I have not had a full second playthrough. And a part of me is like, should I just have a second playthrough, like, on the channel? Like, why not just film it? Because, well, I mean, it would be like my 3rd or 4th playthrough of the 4 first chapters, but after that, 5 and 6 and the epilogue, that'd be my second playthrough of that. But anyway, moving on. But you know, I was into that and everything. I had watched some videos here and there, but like in the past, I would watch like every video I could get my hands on and just like obsessive about it. I wasn't even that obsessed about it, which I mean, I'm kind of grateful for, because it gave me the space to form my own independent opinions, right? And to like, you know, have my own perspective on the thing and just like my own little whatever. But you know, I do still love deep dives and diving into things. So, you know, I hadn't even been diving into my special interests and whatnot. So yeah. But again, back to the break. You know, in more recent times, I've started to get back into it. So it's like away from who I'd been for a long time, but like slightly returning to like those little parts of myself that weren't like bad or harmful or grand or whatever. Like, I recently played Silent Hill 2 Remake. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? If you know, you know. Like, what the fuck? I have never played Silent Hill 1, so like that's why I'm like with the story. But like, whoa. I'm not gonna get into why I'm gagged, but the story was very good. And maybe one day I'll ramble about Silent Hill 2 Remake and James and Mary and all of that. You know, in my restless dreams, I see that town, Silent Hill. You'd promise you'd take me. What are you doing? Oh my god. Here, great heavens. Locked back in, Raven. Help. But yeah, you know, I've been diving into like a lot of Silent Hill 2 videos and just Silent Hill videos in general. I'm watching this one. It's about Silent Hill 4, I think. It's Silent Hill The Room. Hold on. What is that? That freaked me the fuck out. Don't ever do that again, girl. I want to find the person just in case. Yes. This one is the one I'm watching. Quite interesting. I really wish I could play that game actually, because I thought something was gonna fall. Because it looks quite interesting, it sounds interesting. Some people say, oh my god, it's a terrible game. That's gonna make me run towards it. Anyway. But yeah. But I've been getting back into my special interests and like learning about the lore and all that stuff, and like the writing and the psychology of the characters, you know. Even Red Dead again, you know, and like actually enjoying getting into my special interests. So I've been getting more in touch with things that I left behind for maybe survival reasons or just because of mental health. But at the same time, like, I'm not as emotional with that loss of that friendship, or even with the people I'm meeting. Like, I was talking to my brother, one of my brothers, I have two. I was talking to one of them, and I was saying how, you know, I talk to people, and I've talked to quite a few people over the last few years. I mean, not like a bunch. I'm not a social person. It's like a decent little handful, right? But I cannot, sorry, I'm trying to like get something for, there we go. I cannot for the life of me actually feel like a spark or connection to anyone. And I think it's to do with me and the things that I've been through. And, you know, just my life has been very hectic in itself. But also, like I said, in like another video, I don't know if I'll have that posted or not, But sometimes I'm talking to people and it's just like, oh my God, I'm talking to a wall. I don't understand what's going on. And I see a lot of videos online about how it's like people aren't the same anymore and everyone's a bot and everything. Low key though. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but oh my God, can we please put a bit of effort in? But yeah, like, I don't know. And like certain things I used to worry about and cry about or care about, I don't care anymore. Like, for example, like I was going on the tangent with my physical appearance. I avoided mirrors. I avoided the camera. I don't care. Now, to help me into this, I'm using a low quality camera because for me, it helps me. You know what I mean? It just feels a bit more comfortable on camera. But like, I'm just caring a lot less. And it's not even on like, oh, I just don't care about anything. It's more so like I cannot concern myself with all of the insanity of my own life and then life in general. Like if I keep doing it, I'm like, for example, if I keep fighting for that friendship, if I kept fighting for it, I would have just driven myself crazy. And then it still would have ended where it's like, you're a terrible person, da da da. And by the time I'm crazy, I wouldn't even care. On some like, yeah, you're right, I am terrible. You know? Like if I kept going down these spirals, it just, like basically I would probably implode, is what I'm saying. And so it's like I made this decision subconsciously into now the conscious that I can understand, where it's like, you cannot keep being who you've been this entire time. It is getting you nowhere, Raven. You are killing yourself. You are not going after the things you want to go after. You are not making the art you want to make. You're not making the connections you want to make. You're not becoming the person you want to be because you're clinging on to this amalgamation of identities and molds that aren't you but are you, but they're also mixing with other people's expectations of you, and you're trying to bend and break and become something for other people, but it's also trying to be something for yourself. And it's just, it's too much. It was too much. And I finally just said, nope, I cannot do that in 2026. I'm going to be turning 27 years old. I can't keep doing this shit. I'm not 14. I'm not 16. I'm not 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm going to be 27. It is time to grow up and stop giving a fuck. And so that's kind of what it's been like. And now I don't know who I'm becoming. I really don't. And if you know anything about like astrology, I know I'm messing with my nose. It just itches. Like my nose itches right now. If you know anything about astrology, I am going to be coming up on my Saturn return. Saturn will be in Taurus. I don't know exactly when, but you know, eventually it's in Aries right now, and the next sign is Taurus. So I will be going through my Saturn return. So I really find the timing very interesting astrologically, because based on like the few things I've heard, what I'm experiencing kind of lines up just like a little bit. I don't know much about a Saturn return. I just know what it is. I know what people have said they've experienced. My Saturn is in the 10th house, which is reputation, and I'm trying to find something, but I don't think it's around here. It's an astrology book that has like all the information in it, but I don't know where I have anything in my room. It's alright. But the 10th house is like your reputation, your public image, to, you know, whatever, the things that you strive for, your career, your purpose, you know, things like that. And so, or like your public life. The highest point of the chart is the midheaven, and it's often, you know, depending on if you use like Placidus, it's marked, the cusp of the 10th house is marked by the midheaven. And so it's like the higher part of the chart, like the top of the chart is the 10th house. The bottom is the 4th house. Anyway, moving on. The 4th is your private life. The 10th is your public life, essentially. And so I just find it interesting because I'm like, I can't care about that anymore because I need to do me. At this point, it's kind of like that. Like, I need to do me. I need to live my life externally and internally. And I can't keep doing that if I'm clinging on to a friendship that will never be fixed. I can't keep doing that if I keep... And again, my past self, oh my God, I used to cling to the past. I would never move on. I would be so haunted by the past, I'd be frozen and afraid to do anything. If I still lived the way I was living inside, I would not be making this video right now. Just overwhelmed and panicky and stressed about everything. And that's what I mean. I cannot go on like that. If I went on like that, it would be my brink of extinction. I feel, even though I don't feel like I'm solid in myself, I feel like the most myself I'd ever been. And people will hate that. Some will love it. Others will hate it. Others will think I don't deserve it. That's not my concern anymore. I can't concern myself or even find the energy to with what other people think and how other people feel and how other people want me to be. And that's not to say that if someone says, hey, that's wrong or that's offensive or this upset me, that I'll never care. But I don't know. I'm not going to go out of my way to just be a jackass, but I'm also not going to go out of my way to be a kiss ass anymore. Basically what you see is what you get, and you either like it or you don't, and you don't have to like it. You don't have to like me, and I don't care if you like me or not on some cocky shit, but it's just I do not have the energy or I could die at any minute. The world is fucking insane. Do you know that? The world is crazy. So why am I going to be oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God? Wake up. There's and even if the world wasn't this way, anything could happen to you as an individual. So be yourself. Do the thing. Make the album. Plant the garden. Read the book. Literally. And I even have to tell myself that. Me right now, make the video. Who cares if anyone watches it or not? That's not the point. Just do it. That guy's an asshole, but literally just do it. So yeah, I'm probably going to wrap this up. This has been quite long. I wonder how long the video is actually going to be after editing. But yeah, just literally, you cannot please everyone. You can't. And I know you know that, but you need to know that. You can't please everyone. You can't please the people in your life that you want to please. They either see you for who you are and what you do and how you are, or they don't. And if they don't, well then you might just have to, you can keep them in your life, but you have to interact with them knowing that that is how they are and that is how they will see you, or cut them loose if you can. And also, I was saying when I was starting this whole tangent right here, life is very... Sorry, my go to sleep alarm is going off. Life is very short and unpredictable. 1 minute you could be having a good time, and then another minute your life is falling apart, or one minute you're living wild and free and the next some horrible atrocity happens or something. Like, you know what I mean? It's very unpredictable, or maybe some inconveniences happen, whatever. You know, life is not easy. Life is not easy for a lot of us, but life in general is just not easy. I mean, look at nature. Even nature is violent. Nature is difficult. The animals, the wildlife, the flora, the fauna, all of it has to find a way to survive. And that is about going through obstacles and learning to sustain yourself in some way. So why are you going to keep spending most of your life worried about, you know, what someone else thinks, or how something will come off, or if you're gonna do it right, or AI is gonna take it anyway? Like, basically, bro, you could literally die tomorrow. Would you be satisfied? And I'm not saying like, oh, you gotta do fucking put out an album and get a house and get a car. Like, would you be satisfied, bro? No. What I'm saying is, did you try, and could you die saying you tried? It doesn't even have to be you try doing something extraordinary, but just like, did you try just living for you? For yourself, as yourself? And I think that's why I finally cracked, because it was like, I'm not even living for me. I'm not living as me. I'm living as this rat king of versions of me that are either in other people's heads, and therefore from other people's heads the projection into my own head, and then also what I think I am and what I'm not, and what I'm trying not to be and what I'm trying to be. Like, it was a mess. And I was not living for myself entirely, but also trying to and knowing I wanted to. So it was just like, and that's what you sometimes need to do. Just like break the thing. Just break. But yeah, I think that's it for now. If you are watching this, whoever you are, thank you so much. For real, thank you, because I don't know. I mean, I would just be grateful if, you know, one stranger was like, oh yeah, totally, dude. You know what I mean? But, you know, I'm making these videos mostly for myself, but obviously they're posted publicly, and they'll have, like, tags and descriptions and titles and everything, so they are for someone. They're for the public and whatever. Anyway, thank you for watching. Goodbye.